Are they staying or will they be leaving? There's a lot to be said for Ragin Cajuns baseball as they are in the offseason now. Let's discuss it all right here on Ragin Rundown. What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into another episode of Ragin Rundown, the show where you will know all things UL sports. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, but you can always call me Fitz. And in today's episode, we will be talking about some of the players that have entered their name into the transfer portal that are now former Ragin Cajun baseball players. We'll talk about the guys that will be coming back. We'll talk about some of the guys that are going to be entering the program as commitments already. And then we'll also look at football prospects that are currently on campus and that are on their official visits for the football program. But before we get into any of that, I want to give a huge thank you to all of you out there that have supported this podcast. We have recently eclipsed 300 subscribers on the channel, and it would have not been possible without you guys. This show has been a labor of love for me, as I obviously have a TV job that I do at KETC. And being able to do this, I feel like I've been able to cultivate an environment and a group of people that truly want to know what's going on with Ragin Cajuns Athletics. And so that's why we started doing this show. So I greatly appreciate you guys. And now onward and upward to 400. That's the next goal for us to be able to reach. And if you're a listener, hey, I appreciate you just as much. I don't know what the numbers may look like over there, but if you're a listener and you want to support the movement, go ahead and go over to YouTube and subscribe there as well. So we talked about it in multiple episodes on here that there will be guys leaving the program, and now there is just about a clear-cut number of what those numbers will look like. Obviously, the transfer portal opened on June the 1st, and guys that have announced their intentions to return can still enter their name into the portal. Things can change. But as of now, the 9 players that will be entering the transfer portal that were a part of the Cajuns 2026 team are as follows. Owen Galt, he announced earlier today. Kason Ballard, Trip Dobson, he has not publicly said that he will be entering the portal, but that is what I have been told. Maddox Mendino, Cole Flanagan, the Sam Houston product, Griffin Abear, Cohen Alfonso, Jace LaCava, and Wilton Taylor, the former STM product. So there are 9 guys that will be moving on from the program. And obviously them entering their name does not mean that they can't come back. But typically if you enter and if you wait too long, you may not have a spot left for you to be able to come back on the team. And I do want to say also that just because these guys are entering, there's always been this topic of whether they're being loyal to the program or they're chasing the dollar or anything like that. If you look at the names of these guys, these are a lot of players that were in reserve roles, meaning they don't have leverage to go and try to go get some money, right? It'd be different if we were talking about Blaze Rodriguez or Colt Brown, guys that had really exceptional first campaigns, and then somebody comes along and says, hey, here's $800,000, come and be a part of our program. That's a little bit different than some of these guys. These could more so be an instance of, hey, man, you didn't play much this year. You may not play much next year. If you want to get an opportunity to be able to go and find a spot where you can become the guy, go ahead and do what you need to do. No hard feelings here. We love you, and we wish you all the best. That is what is more so these guys leaving the program is an example of. So I do want to clarify that before we get into anything else. So you have 9 guys that will be leaving your program. Now to the guys that will be coming back, and it's a list that extends pretty long. You have Donovan LaSalle that made his name public that he would be returning. Mark Collins, Ty Roman recently announced, Cam Riley, Parker Smith, Sawyer Pruitt, Landon Victorian, Blaze Rodriguez, Bryce Wilson, Hayden Pearson, Noah Lewis, and Colt Brown. Now, there are some players that have not publicly said that they will be coming back, but from what I've been told, guys like Steven Spalita, Drew Markle, Garrett Carter, Chase Morgan also, who did not play this past season because of a back injury, J.R. Tollett, and Josh Lim. Those guys will still more than likely be a part of the program. Now, Cody Brash, is kind of the wild card for you, right? He's probably going to get an opportunity to get drafted very high. And because of that, you're going to be outbidded, right? In terms of the NIL package that you could probably put together, the best offer that you may be able to put together is not going to exceed what he can go and get at slot value in the MLB draft. This is his draft year. This is probably the best leverage that he's going to have. So he's going to probably be a one and done player, which is understandable. Coach Deggs talked about that after their loss to Mississippi State. So we understand that that's how that will stand. But these other players that you have coming back, are all core pieces that were a part of the success that you had on this team this past 2026 season now, as you finished 41 and 25. It's going to be interesting to see how healthy Chase Morgan will be. He has not been throwing, but from what I've been told, he will work to start back throwing and they will slowly work him in. He'll start back trying to throw starting next month. So there is a decent amount of an offseason before fall ball really gets rolling around. And then we will see what he can turn into coming into his senior campaign in 2027. But we talked about it in the last episode, the big four, the freshmen that will be coming back, the Noah Lewis, the Colt Brown, the Sawyer Pruitt, and the Blaze Rodriguez. That's going to be the cornerstone of what you want to have on your team. Then you think about a guy like a Donovan LaSalle that led your team in home runs. You think about Mark Collins that got really hot on the back end of the postseason with his career high in RBI in the game against Cincinnati, the elimination game that you had where he had 4 in that game. And then you think about from a bullpen standpoint, Parker Smith and Hayden Pearson were really big for you. Landon Victorian didn't get much burn because he's been working back from injury, but he's going to be able to help you a lot at some point. Cam Riley obviously is a two-sport guy, but he can develop into a much better pitcher for you into the future. Drew Markle was a consistent player for you on the defensive end and with his bat as well. And the list goes on and on with these group of guys. So as it stands now, that would be 18 players that would be returning, and then the 9 that we mentioned that would be departing from your program. So now the question is, who's going to be coming in that could be able to help the success of this program and push things forward going to 2027? We're going to talk about that when we come back right here on Ragin Rundown. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Ragin Rundown. We're going to get back into the action in just a second. But before we do, please do me a favor. If you're watching this video, like it, share it, and leave a comment down below. But most importantly, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're listening, follow the podcast feed, rate the show, and leave us a review because that's going to help us get in front of more Ragin Cajun fans just like yourself. So we know the 18 guys that will be coming back for you in 2027. Now it's about looking at the guys that will be entering your program in 2027. So as it stands, you have 8 guys that will be coming in. Most of them will be out of the junior college rank, but you have 2 players coming out of the high school rank. The first is Miles Ledoux, who is from Barb, listed as a second baseman. The second is Evan Vincent, who is a left-handed pitcher. He's a local kid coming from Turlings Catholic. Ironically enough, Zach LaFleur, your assistant coach and recruiting coordinator, is going to be heading over there. So that pipeline may remain just as strong, being able to connect with those 2 programs. And then also you have like Justin Robichaux, who was the son of the late, great Tony Robichaux, is the head baseball coach at STM. So that pipeline is going to continue to stand strong for you in those regards. I did not pull up stats and how they look for each of these high school players, but if I can pull it up really quickly while I'm on here with you guys, I can see how it looks as it stands right now. Perfect Game does not have any statistics for Evan Vincent as I'm looking, but they do have him standing at 6'2" and 180 pounds. So that's a solid sized pitcher that you're going to have. And I do see that one of his best velocity throws, if I'm looking at this correctly, the top end was 89 miles per hour. So that is really, really good coming in for a true freshman coming into his first season of college baseball. So that's going to be really fun to watch him when we get to see that out in fall ball and what he can be able to develop into for you in the near future. Meanwhile, you have Miles Ledoux, who is from Barb. Like I mentioned, he's 5'9", 174 pounds is what they have him listed at on Prep Baseball. If I can get it pulled up on Perfect Game, we'll be able to see what they have him listed at there. They do not have 5'11", 170 pounds is what they have him listed at on Perfect Game. He's played at third base. He threw a little bit for you as a right-handed guy, second base, catcher, infielder, outfielder, shortstop, all of those good numbers like that. We know that we are going to see Blaze Rodriguez be your shortstop, but after Rigoberto Hernandez went down, Owen Galt was your second baseman. And because he's now entering the portal, you can assume that you'll probably see Miles Lado in that position at second base. You'll probably see Donovan LaSalle. He was kind of being cross-trained during the Starkville Regional at first. Liamade was switching between first and third and all of those things like that. So you'll probably see him at first. You'll probably see Drew Markle at third base. Cole Brown behind the dish at catcher. And then in the outfield, you'll probably see Mark Collins at left. You'll probably see Noah Lewis in center. And then right field may be the spot where things could get shaken up just a little bit. Because then Donovan LaSalle, he played outfield just a little bit for you as well. So potentially he could be out there. You still have Josh Lim on your roster that could do things for you as well. So we'll be keeping our eye on that one, but that's how it stands with the high school ranks. Then you're talking about the community college and junior college ranks of players. The first is Eric Fernandez, who's coming from Tallahassee Junior College. If I can go and pull up his profile again, I got all these different tabs opened up. Tallahassee State College is where he will be coming from. He's 6'3", 210 pounds. He's just coming out of his sophomore campaign, so he will have 2 years of eligibility. He's a incoming junior for you. This past season, in his career stats, he played in 53 games. He had 189 at bats. He had 59 hits, 13 of them being doubles, a triple, and 1 home run. And he had 35 RBI and 13 stolen bases. That's a 312 batting average. This past season, 25-26. He played in 16 games the previous season. So he could be an infielder for you to be able to give you some options there with other positions to see what kind of competition he can either build towards the future, or he can push guys like Donovan LaSalle or Drew Markle, or maybe you cross-train Donnie and say, hey, you go out into right field. We're going to bring him in the infield. It gives you options and an opportunity to see. And it all depends on how strong the bat is going to be once we get off into fall ball as well. The next player is Dagan Kubat, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let me go back and make sure that I am. Dagan Kubat, correct, is the next guy that we're looking at. He's 6'1", 210 pounds. He is coming from Vernon College. He is a right-handed pitcher. This past season, he had 13 appearances with 1 start. He was 3-7 in his win-loss record. He pitched in 57 innings. He allowed 83 hits, 53 earned runs for an ERA of 8.37, right? Can be able to develop that. Once again, he is a sophomore. You have 2 more years of eligibility out of him. So he could be somebody that could be a back-end bullpen guy for you potentially, someone that you can develop. Because when you're talking about starters going into the weekends, you still have Ty Roman. You still have Sawyer Pruitt. You still have J.R. Tillett. You still have Chase Morgan potentially coming back for you as well. So you may be pretty set when it comes to your weekend starter guys. He could be someone that could be a midweek starter for you, or like I said, a back-end bullpen guy for you as well. The next player is Maddox Sullivan, who is a right-handed pitcher from Iowa Central. He committed to the program back in April. Dagan actually committed back in November. Maddox Sullivan committed in April. He is coming from Iowa Central, like I mentioned. In 25, it says that he appeared in 14 games, but there's no statistic line for him. Oh, excuse me, I was looking at his hitting stats. So he appeared in 14 games. He had 6 starts. He was 5-3. He pitched in 42 innings, 34 hits allowed, 22 earned runs for an ERA of 4.71. He's 6'1", 225 pounds. He was a redshirt freshman this past season, so he will have 3 years of eligibility. He'll be coming in as a sophomore, junior, and then senior year for 3 years of eligibility. The next player We talked about him in a previous episode. Kale Pisano was a first baseman and outfielder from Central Arizona, and he is 6'3", 225 pounds. He was a redshirt freshman this past season. He came from Oregon, and we talked about some of those numbers. Him being the number one player at his position in the state of Oregon and number 3 overall. He played in 36 games this past season with a 318 batting average, 4 home runs, 28 RBI, and 2 stolen bases. It could be interesting to see what you will do with him because, again, he has the ability, and he bats lefty. He has the ability to either be an infielder or an outfielder. Again, an opportunity to be able to cross train a guy um, down the line as you build towards the future. The next player is Jeremy Kuiper, who is from Chandler Gilbert Community College, who is listed as a first baseman. He is 6'2", 195 pounds. He bats and throws right-handed. He played in 55 games with a 316 batting average. He had 19 home runs this past season, so he has a lot of power to his bat. He had 55 RBI and 2 stolen bases. So when you're talking about some power hitting, this could be a guy to really keep an eye out for potentially this upcoming season as we go along. And the year before, he played in 43 games, 155 at bats, 7 home runs, 28 RBI, and he had a 245 batting average. So he just continued to grow. He is a sophomore. He will be coming into his junior year when he comes to Lafayette, so he'll have 2 years of eligibility. And then the last player that we have on the list is Trent Lape, who is a right-handed pitcher who was at Bossier City Community College or Bossier Parish Community College, BIPC. Um, he was a guy that was originally at LSU, if I'm not mistaken, and now he's going to come into your program. And according to the Bossier Press Tribune, reading from an article that they had about him, he began his college career at LSU before transferring to BIPC this fall. His fastball consistently sat in the upper 90s this fall and is drawing attention from MLB teams. We all know this is a quote from BIPC head coach Bobby Gillum. We all know Trent had an elite arm talent, but his dedication to his craft has been impressive. He's been up to 98 this fall and worked hard to develop complementary stuff to go along with the fastball. Trent had other options from SEC schools, but UL came in with an offer that was really special. We are counting on him to be a force in Region 14 this spring. So that was prior to the upcoming season. So that's going to be a interesting piece there as well, because like I mentioned, you have guys that were weekend starters for you, but when you're talking about competition and trying to build a winning program, if you bring in a guy and he beats out someone that you already have on your roster, you just got to tip your cap to him and be able to go with the person that's working best for you. So those are the 8 guys that you have that will be coming into your program. You have 18 guys that are returning. So your number is up to 26. From what I've been told, there could be a potential another arm or another pitcher that could potentially be committing soon. They may be working to try to get a catcher, an infielder, and a couple of more arms as they work through the portal and the summer before getting to fall ball. So it's going to be very, very exciting. I could probably see the roster numbers getting somewhere around. So if you add 3, 4, 5, 6, plus the 26. So that would be somewhere around 32, 33 guys on your roster coming up in 2027. You got a lot of talent. And based on some of these guys that we talked about that are going to be coming into the program, adding to what you already have on your roster. Now, obviously, it's going to have to boil down to culture. How do they culturally fit into your program, first of all? That's going to be the main thing. How do they work into that? But also, how will they gel with the system in the way that you do things there in Lafayette? So it'll be interesting to see how it all turns out. Now, I have one more thing that I need to talk about, and that's going to be the official visits that are happening this weekend, as it's going to be a busy month for the football program. We'll get all into that right after this break here on Ragin Rundown. So official visits are set to start this month, this weekend to be exact, as Louisiana is on the recruiting trail. As we know, they are already up to 6 guys that are committed. They are Shadow Creek tight end Bryce Coleman, Avoyo's defensive lineman Kobe Smith, Faraday wide receiver Rob Taylor, Westbrook quarterback Tam Anderson, Angleton, offensive lineman Noah Ernst, and Plaquemine, wide receiver John Walker. So you have 6 guys already committed. All of them will also be on official visits. And essentially what that is, the football program, it's on their dime, on their dollar to take care of the players, to bring them in, to allow them to be able to tour the facilities, places that they've already been around, and kind of get that full lean in, a full court press, so to speak, of trying to get those guys to either commit or further solidify their commitment as they head deeper into the summer months and get ready for their senior seasons here in 2026. On the back half of 2026, will there be a part of the 2027 class? So the guys that will be coming in this weekend that are already in Lafayette for their official visits as they started here on June the 4th with me recording this episode. The first is Summer Creek defensive back Caleb White, Robert Taylor, the guy that I just mentioned that's committed to your program already, University Lab, O lineman, D lineman Mason Smith, St. Aug edge Jacques Robichaux, Shadow Creek tight end Bryce Coleman, who I mentioned is already committed to your program, and then STM safety Landon Ortiz. So starting things off, just to give you a rundown of each one of these guys and what they will bring to the table. The first is Caleb White, who is 5'10", 171 pounds. His highlights show him lined up at a cornerback position, which can be very, very big for you to add depth to that room. This past season, he had just 17 targets thrown his way. These are all according to what he put on his Twitter account in his pinned tweet. 17 targets, 2 catches allowed the entire season, 0 touchdowns allowed, 5 interceptions, and a pick 6, 10 pass breakups, 2 tackles for loss, and 21 tackles. So essentially, it sounds like where he is a shutdown cornerback, meaning he can lock down one side of the field. And to have something like that, man, is going to be huge as you're building towards the future. Because when you look at the cornerback room, obviously you have Brent Gordon Jr., who is a sophomore for you coming into this season. Avery Demery, who had a lot of great plays for you in the spring. Then you have some young guys. Cam Riley is also a cornerback for you, even though he's on the baseball team as well. He's doing a little bit of a Deion Sanders, if you will. Curly Reed, Kevin Malone, Jeremiah Moses, and so many other guys in that room. So you're just adding youth to that room along the way. So he could be someone that if you're able to get a commitment out of him, that can add depth to that room. The next is Faraday wide receiver Robert Taylor. We've talked about him on this show before, so I won't get deep into his numbers and anything like that. You can go and check that out on previous episodes that we've talked about. But just looking at the wide receiver room, right, Sheldon Sampson, I believe, is going into his junior season. So he's going to be a developed and much older receiver. You have Landon Batiste, Landon Strother, Trenton Cheney, Russell Babineau. Jaden Johnson will be your lone senior, I believe, out of your receiver room. Raji Dennis, Jacorian Norris, and then you'll bring in Christian Brooks, who is a freshman that will be on campus and should be on campus for you already entering the summer. So you're just going to continue to load up that receiver room. We know that offensively UL likes to use a lot of receivers, rotating guys in and out, and it's not just 3 guys and this is all we're using, or just 2 guys and it's all we're using. They like to use multiple guys in their offense. So having more pieces throughout will be good for you. U-High offensive lineman Mason Smith. It has him listed on his Twitter account as, if I can pull it up again, I got a lot of tabs open, like I said. He wears the number 60, so he's listed as a left tackle and defensive tackle, and he also says he plays first base for their baseball team. He's 6'3", 280 pounds, and runs a 5 flat in the 40-yard dash, so a big guy with a lot of speed. I'm going to assume that he's going to be brought in on the offensive line, which is going to help you a ton because you have a lot of older guys on the offensive line at your tackle spots, like a George Jackson, like a Zay Alexander, a Jamarian Gooch. But then you have younger guys and behind them, so he's going to be able to come in and push some of those other guys. Obviously, you brought in Jace Mitchell out of the transfer portal from Tulane, and then you have young freshmen like JaVale Mays Hudson, and then Michael Bowens Jr. So you have some young guys there in the tackle spot. Bringing him in will also be good. St. Aug edge Jacques Robichaux, pulling up his Twitter account. He is 6'4", 230 pounds. And this past season, his junior campaign, he had 9.5 sacks, a pick six, 4 forced fumbles, 16 quarterback hurries, 23 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, and 5 pass deflections. Really, really good numbers for a solid pass rusher. And we know that in this defense based out of a 4-3, you kind of have that jack position that you could be working with. So you're talking about more like a Ashley Williams, an AJ Spencer, kind of guys like that that can stand up as a linebacker, put their hands in the ground. It just kind of depends on where they feel they can utilize him at that position if they're able to get a commitment for him. Shadow Creek tight end Bryce Coleman, we've talked about him. He was the first commit of your 2027 class. We'll be seeing if they can hold the rope and keep him throughout the summer. But him being your first commitment is going to be one of the strongest bit of advantage that you have, because he's going to be on the visit during the weekend. Him and Robert Taylor, 2 commits that you already have, they can be able to say, hey, guys, we know what it takes. We have seen what this program can do. We know these coaches are genuine. We know these guys really believe in what we're trying to do. Come here to UL and let's go win and be something special here in Lafayette. The last is STM safety Landon Orty, who is a local product, and getting a local guy is always going to be huge. The conversation is always on social media that UL doesn't recruit local players, and that's just not true, because either the guys are out of their range, like a Braylon Calais, or they go and get them maybe on the back end or anything like that. But Landon is 6'2", 190 pounds. He was all district as a safety, and he was a first team all state safety as well. This past season, he played in 12 games. He had 2 interceptions, 10 pass breakups, 122 tackles, 48 of them being solo. So he found his way around the ball and was able to make a lot of plays for the Cougars this past season. So it's going to be interesting to see how things go over this official visit weekend. They'll have more official visits for the remaining month, as they have quite a few guys coming up in the week of from June 11th to June 13th. So they'll be in town from June 4th to June 6th. So if you see them around town, you see them with a coach, hanging out, eating somewhere or something like that, make them feel at home, because this could potentially be their home for the next 3 to 4, 5 years, depending on if they commit to this program. So that's going to wrap up this episode of Ragin Rundown. It's been an extended one for sure, but we had a lot that we had to get into in this one. If you've made it to this point in the video, thank you so much. Please do me a favor, like it, share it, and leave a comment down below. But most importantly, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're listening, please follow the podcast feed, rate the show, and leave us a review, because that's going to help us get in front of more Ragin Cajun fans just like yourself. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. We'll see you guys next time.